Hello and welcome to Bedson and Coffey, Unfiltered.
Where we will be discussing fitness, lifestyle, healthy eating habits, relationships, gas station performance pills, answering romantic queries. You have anything else, Tyler? Is there anything? Do you need help with anything right now? Because I feel like I'm in a position where I can help you with it.
I mean, and everything else that we come across as we go. But
That's
you know
it.
what it's going to be, right?
It's going to be unfiltered.
I don't know. You just seem different, you know.
I'm different. I'm a different type of person.
That.
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No. Say what the fuck you gonna say.
Let me see. Something like a martini, like
A martini?
Yeah, I can see a
I don't
martini.
think I've ever had a martini.
Really?
No, I drink mules, like a Moscow mule. I like
See,
those.
yeah, I could see that.
That's about what I drink every time.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
I like beer. I drink beer.
That's
Yeah.
one thing I've just never really cared for. I did it a lot when I was like high school, but
Yeah, well, I grew up around a bunch of like old country alcoholics,
yeah.
and they would just they would drink like the official beer of stepdads, Busch Light.
Oh God, yeah. I think that was
I still like
that
Busch
might have
Light.
been the beer in Murray State too, because they were all about that and Natty Light. Or
yeah,
Natty Ice. Was it Natty Ice?
Natty Ice had more alcohol in it.
Yeah, they were all about Natty Ice. It was cheap,
Oh yeah.
but it tastes like piss water.
yeah.
Kinda shitty.
I don't mind Busch Light. I would still drink Busch Light.
Really?
Yeah. I water load on it before shows.
Water load on. I used to have a guy that I prepped one time, and he would drink he was used to drinking 6 beers every night, and that's like all he did. It's like his thing. Come home, drink 6 beers, and he's like, "Can I still do that in prep?" And I was like, "Man, no, that's probably not a good idea." He's like, "But what if we did? I could probably get a sponsorship." And I'm like,
You let me have 6 beers a night in prep? It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Can you imagine though? He wins. That's why he smacks 2 on stage. He's like,
Comes out like Stone Cold.
like Stone Cold, beats everybody, but that's all he ate the entire time: chicken and beer.
There was a
Like
boxer,
ludicrous.
Mayorga, and I forget, he was from Latin America, but he would smoke cigarettes and drink beer in the ring after his fights. And I mean, he came out, he had like big scars on him where they'd fought with machetes and so on, but he did really well until he got in like the upper part of his weight class, and he fought like De La Hoya, and those guys whipped him. But like, he did really, really well. But he would drink a beer and stuff after. I kind of felt like it was a gimmick at that point. It's like, dude, you didn't do that all through your prep, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, and come out and do this.
Just a
Maybe.
thing
You
for
never know.
afterwards, a celebration thing. See,
I think his gimmick was like, it's like, this is me. This is how I do this all the time, and I'm gonna whip the piss out of this guy.
some people got stuff like that though. You know,
You got those genetic outliers.
if you were to so say you're doing an MMA fight, what song would you walk out to?
What song would I walk out to?
Yeah, like your walkout song. What would you choose, and how would you do it? You know.
That's something you should have asked me 20 years ago. At this point in my life, I'm not sure. But for you, I don't know.
I got a good one. You remember that? You know that song by Tiny Tim?
I don't know who Tiny Tim is.
It's that one song. It's like tiptoe through the tulips.
How's it sound?
Oh, I can't sing it better than that. It ain't gonna work.
That would be
Look
good,
it up,
yeah.
but you walk out there,
Yeah.
but you just have like a possessed look. You don't even your body's stiff. You're just walking like this. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody did that, I wouldn't fight them. I'd be
Yeah.
like, this guy's crazy. Like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
songs and mean looks don't really add up to a whole fucking lot.
No,
So
that.
I've seen guys come out looking like killers and get slept.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like 7 seconds. Knee in the face.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah, like Fedor Emelianenko, his brother. He fought a guy in Pride, and that dude was over there and just bashing his hands together and shaking, flexing. There's juice to the gills, like massive. And he comes out just running as hard as he can. And I think Alexander Emelianenko was his name. He just stepped at an angle, bang, just beats the brakes off this dude. And he was so sweet after that. Like beforehand, he was this big, crazy guy. And it's like, he was trying to convince himself. Alexander already knew, so it didn't matter.
You get humbled real quick, and
Well, I'm telling you.
that's a whole different level of sport right there.
It
Skill.
is. It is. I first trained with any sort of jiu-jitsu or MMA when I was like 18.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm a big, strong kid, for whatever reason, you have guys and nobody would just be watching TV randomly and be like, I think I could take Jordan one-on-one. I think I could hold my own with him, get a few shots off. The fuck? But you have everybody watching a fight or something and say, well, I'd do this or I'd do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you won't make it to the fucking ring before you just give out a breath. So
You got
just
some
hush.
of those dudes that have been training since they've been like 4
Oh,
years
God.
old.
Yeah, dude.
What's the one guy got? Is it Khabib?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that they were saying was like training by wrestling bears when he
So
was a
his
child.
dad, yeah. Nurmagomedov, Khabib Nurmagomedov. His dad, they had this bear cub, and like in Dagestan. You know?
You like, I got a question though. Do you catch the bear? Like, did they buy it? Would they just find this bear and they were like,
I mean, it's pretty much Russia. So like, I mean, I
just
think
there everywhere?
yeah, like I
Like
mean, they're
cats,
just there. It's
like
like
rats,
yeah,
cats.
like that. But no, there's videos of him. He's got on like a windsuit.
Yeah.
And that bear, like the thing is like their balance and their base is really, really good. And that bear had got, it was wild. I mean, obviously the bear just knows balance. I mean, it's an animal, but it's obviously, you know, it doesn't know technique or anything, but you can see it just naturally moving in certain ways. And the bear just like almost looks like he does a knee tap takedown and shoves him over and he's trying to get up, and it's pretty wild. But yeah, there's videos of that.
I mean, yeah, if that's how you're training as a child though, and then you know,
Yeah.
you end up being really, really good.
He sure
Is
was.
he still fighters?
He retired. His father passed away and he didn't want to
Keep
He
going.
didn't want to continue doing it without his father.
I get that.
Yeah, his mother had asked him to stop or something. But I think his dad had actually, his dad had a whole crew together.
Yeah.
And he trained that whole team. But anyway, like Islam Makhachev,
Yeah.
you know, his dad had actually had like, was on, you know, whatever talking. And he said, you know, Khabib is number one and Khabib will be until he decides to be done. He said, when he does, Islam will come up. Islam will be champion. Sure enough.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh my God, exactly, yeah.
I watched him fight too. He's ridiculous.
He is, man. And like those guys, like they're just grinders, dude.
Yeah.
That style of wrestling and the way it translates to MMA and just the pressure they put on people, you can see people break. Like when Khabib took down Edson Barbosa, and like, I don't know if you've ever like had somebody that's really good at grappling just hold you down and you can't get out from under them. It's fucking horrible. Like the kind of pressure those dudes will put on people, like you can see them mentally break.
Yeah.
You know, and like putting your weight on somebody, you know, not just like laying on somebody, but knowing how to place your weight so you feel heavy.
So they can't do anything.
And they can't breathe, you know, like you get heavy right over somebody's, you know, like right below their chest, and they can't take a deep breath and all those things. And it's just,
yeah.
like you'll see people panic. And sure enough, man, some people, if they've never felt that kind of pressure, God, yeah.
They're done.
I was like, you know, like Chewy and those guys.
Yeah.
Him and Brandon and all those top guys at Chewy's, Jesus Christ. Yeah, just it's next
That's like
level.
my brother's gotten really into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's kind of like his thing. He competes in it now. He wins.
That's so awesome, man.
Loves it, you know. But he will tell me all the time. He's like, he's got guys that come in and they're, you know, big dudes, and they think they can sometimes manhandle people because they're big. But then they find out real quick they don't know how to distribute their weight. They don't know how to do this. So they're getting beat by the dudes that are, you know, 50 pounds lighter than them.
Yeah, well, and then too, you know, jiu-jitsu's leverage.
Yeah.
You know, and like you know, my arm isn't stronger than your entire body. So like, you know, being able to, you know, have, you know, the body mechanics and understanding of the technique to apply just ungodly amounts of leverage and torque on joints. You know, you're not getting out of that. Like,
no.
you know, and then too, you got these guys just because they're big. Like there's so much, you know, you'll have these guys and they'll just squeeze and blow up and then they're tired 5 seconds in. And, you know, like a lot of times just because people lift weights, they think they have that kind of strength. And it's just totally different.
It's a whole different field there.
It's a lot of isometric strength too.
Yes.
Like that holding power. Like, you know, you grab somebody that's grappled a bunch and it's like nothing moves. You're like, okay, yeah, this guy's strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that isometric, that holding power. Karelin, you ever see him?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, dude. They called him the Russian experiment. I just went blank for a second, but Karelin was his last name. But the dude was like 275, lean, and moved like a cat.
That's crazy.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, he did Greco-Roman wrestling. And he won. He was undefeated for like over a decade. Like it was ridiculous.
I want to see how somebody beats somebody that's 275 that can move like that.
No, it's unreal. Like, yeah,
that's
like
incredible.
he, the way he moved, like he just, it's hard to even explain. but he would move like a lightweight. Here he is, 275. They called him the Russian experiment. Yeah, but God, he was unreal. If you ever want to feel like less of a man, look up Karelin.
I have to.
Like, I mean, just the dude. They asked him who his toughest opponent was, and he said the refrigerator. And like, what? I'm sorry. Was that someone's nickname? He's like, no, the refrigerator. And they look over, I guess, whoever's with him, and they're like, yes, his coach made him carry a refrigerator up flights of stairs as part of his training. So it's like, yeah, he's like, no, that of everything, that was the worst part. So it's like, okay.
That's actually hilarious, though.
No, dude, he was a unit.
I always joke about, like, when I'm training clients at the gym, I'll be like, all right, now your final thing is you got to carry me up the stairs, like shit like that. You know, but people actually do some wild stuff like that.
And then you have them carry you up there?
I mean, nah, nobody's ever done it.
Do you have them carry you like in the front, like this?
Like a child, like, you know.
Like they're like you just passed out in a fire and they're trying to rescue you?
Trying to rescue
That's cool.
me. Yeah.
You have them do CPR after, like, or just mouth to mouth? Or?
No.
No?
I haven't been able to get anybody to do that yet.
Aaron's close.
Man, so let's see. Let's talk about the new Kentucky news story.
Man, there's always something good going on in Kentucky.
One of the headlines that caught my eye, though, and I think you've seen this one too, was how'd they phrase it? They said,
so the way I seen it, and you know way more about it than I do.
Yeah.
You had something on the inside. But I was on my way back last weekend from a wedding. Congratulations to Quentin and Alicia, by the way. But anyway, I was on my way back, and they had 27 shut down, and there was like tons of cop cars and emergency vehicles and stuff. And anyway, we had to detour around. But the next day, Annie had sent me a link, and there was a terrible wreck, and 2 people had passed away.
Yeah.
But there was, you know, like how when you open it, there's like different links, and it shows you like different news stories.
All the
and at the
articles.
top, it said, Northern Kentucky lady murders and cannibalizes her mother.
Yeah, that's the one. We got that sent to us.
That'll catch your attention.
My mother-in-law is from that area in Northern Kentucky, and she sent it to us, and I was like, that's a crazy story. So I started looking more into it, and of course, like, this is like something that'll probably be on a podcast, like Netflix series, and guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I started looking into it because it would pop up on my TikTok after it. You know how you like read something, and then all of a sudden, like, your social media will show you what you just read and like information on it. And they said that she used to be an actress and went by a different name, like Jamie Navarre, I think it was what it was. So I found her Instagram, and I had one person that followed her. So I messaged him because I knew this person. I was like, how do you know this girl? And he was like, what do you mean? You know her too. And he sent me her old Instagram profile, and I was like, holy shit. So turns out 10 years ago, whenever I used to work at the supplement store inside of the LA Fitness, she was a personal trainer there. And I talked to this girl like every day. She was kind of weird. She was a little different, but she was super nice. I thought, like,
she didn't necessarily show signs of seeming to be Hannibal Lecter.
I'm gonna tell you a story that, like, how I remember her though. And this is like, it was kind of embarrassing story for me. Like, I look back at this, and I'm like, that was that girl that did this. And I'm like, okay. So I'm out there training this one day, and I'm doing like something on the cables, and she's on the pull-up bar in the middle of the cable set up, and she's doing like hanging leg raises. And she looks at me, and she's like, hey, Tyler. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, punch me in the abs while I train. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. Like, I'm like, and I don't want to do that. But she's like persistent. She's like, don't be a little bitch. Punch me in the abs. So, brother,
This girl just talking shit.
Yeah,
to you.
just talking shit to me. And I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. Like, so I barely like punch her in the abs. Like, I barely punch her.
Let's go, pussy.
And she falls down to the ground onto her knees, and she goes, oh, why did you hit me? And like in front of the whole gym, everybody's looking at me. So I look like I just fucking like just beat the shit out of this girl. And I'm like, the most embarrassing moment of my life. And that's how I remember this girl. All right. So 10 years later, I see an article, and she has killed her mother and cannibalized her. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What happened in 10 years? I mean, like that to me was a little wild. Like, I was like, did she just like, she made it be like almost like I tried to like hurt her. So I'm sitting there, bro, red in the face, and I'm like, you told me to hit you.
Yeah,
And,
I swear to God, she asked for it.
yeah, which everybody's just looking at me like they're so confused. Like,
You better get the fuck up before you get another one.
yeah. I got dudes around me staring at me like they're gonna come to her aid, and I'm like, God damn,
She's selling it. Oh God.
yeah. She's like, got tears coming in her eyes. I'm like, holy shit.
You should have started like hulking out.
Yeah.
Turned it into a WWE match.
Oh man, I was like, I was 22 at the time. I had just gotten into like really bodybuilding. I was maybe like 160 pounds.
Yeah.
So it was just a different time. I was like,
Fucking Tyler's on the roids now and he's beating women.
I remember as soon as he sent me this profile of her and I like saw her, I was like, oh my God. And that was the first thing that came to my head. It was like a haunted memory that came
So I wonder,
back.
like, what leads one to, I mean, God, though, that's like, that's next level, like to do it to your mother, though. Like, to kill your own mother.
Well, I read some of the articles afterwards, and it said that when she moved out to California, she had like a motorcycle accident that caused a traumatic brain injury to the point where she didn't even remember who she was.
Yeah.
So I imagine that played some sort of role in how much this escalated. I don't know what else she did in those 10 years since then.
Yeah.
But that's wild, man.
Man,
like,
like
somebody you talk to every day, and then you see something like that. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's just crazy what can happen to somebody if they go in a certain direction.
Oh, yeah. Especially like with brain injuries and so on. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen people too, like, have a brain injury, and this is, I mean, this is actually true, but sometimes they'll have brain injuries, and it causes them to be like, be hypersexual and like say things like anything just out of the blue, and just not even think about like have no couth at all. Just,
No. Well, she was like from the news article and what I've read and what I've heard, they had like workers come into the mother's house the day before to, I guess they were going to do some work on the house. I'm not absolutely sure what they're going to do, but she was casting spells at them to get them to leave. And that was in the police report. And I'm like,
yeah.
So,
You know, it,
yeah. And it definitely will be like a Netflix series here in the future.
Yeah,
They're quick with that stuff
this
too,
episode
man.
might come out around Halloween too. So,
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah, it'd be good. Yeah.
That's going to be a true crime podcast.
You ever date a girl that was really into like the crystals and Wiccan and so on?
I stayed away from those, man. Even when it comes to horoscopes, I'm like, my mom even told me that. She was like, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
You know,
You just randomly text your mom like, Mom, what time of day was I born? She's like, leave that girl the fuck alone.
yeah. Yes. Hell no. No.
Yeah.
We had a girl in our high school that carried around a bag of rocks. And she was like,
She's strong as fuck.
but she thought she was
Like not crystals, just rocks.
just rocks. Like it was like a bag of rocks, and she's like carried it around, and she would cast spells, but she also wore like rabbit ears to school. Like I don't know what was going on there. Like
Well, see, that's the closest thing you came to a furry. So you wanted one on here.
See if I would find her on Facebook. I forget her name, but yeah.
You might need to just join like a forum or something.
A forum.
Like join like
Go to a convention. We should go. You know what we should do? We should look up furry convention and take a field trip.
I like field trips. I'm down. Well, let's go.
Can you imagine that though? Like we don't even dress up. We're the only ones not dressed up. We meet a ton of furries.
I mean, if I go, I kind of want to dress up.
All right. What would you? Okay, we've already discussed that. Like, but what animal would you be?
I'll pick yours and you pick mine.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. I want you. I just want you to be a koala.
A koala. See, that's like my image on my phone.
I know, and they're adorable.
It's always been that.
Like they're adorable.
So it's like even if I'm yelling at you and I'm coaching you, you just see this picture of this koala's face.
Yeah, like, I just
and it's
wanna
just
hug
like it's like, well, he's just a koala.
That's what you ought to do. Like, you know how you can like use the emoji and it'll talk for you?
Yes.
Yeah. Like anytime you have to be like just fucking mean and direct.
Can you imagine you get that message? You got a koala and just sitting there and it's just like, eat your fucking meals. Stop fucking around. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd have to listen to it.
You've been off plan every fucking week. We are. You see this koala?
Yeah, because it reads your facial expressions
Exactly.
too. So
and
it's just like,
oh yeah, dude.
It's angry, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'd be wild. I think I might start doing that.
I think we should. I think I'm going to also.
Yeah. There's multiple animal choices you can make too, based on like the situation.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You got somebody that really like doesn't like red meat. You send them a cow. You know.
You start. You coach a vegan, and everything you do, you send a cow. Yeah. Sure, look a lot better right now if you had some steak.
Yeah. That's a way to get fired as a coach real quick. You know, a vegan coach.
Yeah. Do you coach vegans?
Man, if I do anymore, I do a lot more macro style, because the meal plans that they require, a lot of the stuff is just all
It's so fucking processed
garbage,
exactly.
man. And it's like, and that's
yeah.
what they want in their diet. And I'm like, I'm adding, it's like brands like corn that are like fake chicken.
I know, man. Like you try to look for something that has adequate amounts of protein that isn't just tons of carbs and fat.
Exactly. It'll be like 8 grams of protein, but 17 grams of carbs and 8 grams of fat. And I'm sitting there trying to fit that in
5,000 ingredients in the damn thing.
So I do a lot more macro based off that now, or I'll just say no.
That's me.
I hate to be like that, but.
Well, so I'm not going to do anything that I feel like I can't help you stay healthy with it. Like,
Yeah.
And
I just don't feel like I could get the same results as I could.
Not from a bodybuilding standpoint.
I've had some in the past, and they're like, okay, you know, like I'm a vegetarian or this, but I'll eat egg whites, and that, and then I'm like, okay, well,
that gives us something.
I
exactly.
can work with that,
yeah.
you know.
And I have as well. It's like, you know, some will do, you know, eggs and dairy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, we can do stuff with that.
I can work with that. I've had some that have been like, okay, I'll be pescatarian, like I'll eat fish still, and I'm like, okay, we're breaking some ground, like
there you go, yeah.
And I've had people prep like that and win shows, and that's fine. But when it gets to so many restrictions that I'm sitting here trying to create a plan and it's almost impossible, and it's like, what do I do with this person so that they can get the adequate nutrients in? And I can adjust still, because that's the hardest part, is me trying to adjust the plan. Because if I want to change something, it's like almost got to completely
redo the whole plan.
Yes,
exactly. And that's what I ran into a lot. Is like, you know, just to sum this up real quick. Whenever you lay somebody's meal plan out, you know, first and foremost, we're considering a lot of things. Their height, weight, age. You're looking at possibly their BMR, their TDEE, these things. You're looking at their health markers, any kind of medications, blood work, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And we lay out their macros, and then we build their meals based on that. Whenever you're looking at vegan sources of protein, like either it is so aside from animal proteins, there's nothing that has protein without a bunch of carbs or something.
Yeah.
And you know, whenever we're looking at these vegetable sources of proteins or vegan sources of proteins, they're just a lot of times processed to the point that it's just not real food anymore.
It's not.
It's not real food.
Even stuff like tofu is hard to work around, you know, and I feel like that's one of the main sources, but that's still got quite a bit.
Or like the what's the Morning Star stuff? Like
yeah.
It's like fake chicken strips.
Fake
and
chicken
so on.
strips.
And I mean, some people can. Here's the thing too. Whenever we're looking at what you need to eat, obviously your goals, your lifestyle, all that plays a big part in it. And you know, I'm not saying somebody can't be vegetarian and live their life that way, but what I am saying is if you want to build exceptional amounts of muscle and do certain athletics that require that, it's real hard to do that without, you know, and get adequate amounts of protein in the right way without being over on the other macros whenever you refuse to do animal sources.
Even when they do macros only, it's really hard because like I'm very particular about nutrient timing. So I'm a big meal plan coach. Like I prefer that strategy at all times, because when I'm creating a plan for somebody, I'm looking to make sure there's a full nutrient profile on everything. Like I want to make sure that we are getting your micronutrients. I want to make sure we're getting fiber. I want to make sure things are split in a way for you to get the results. And it's really hard sometimes when somebody's doing macros and they're, you know, mixing stuff up.
And they put off carbs through the day so they can have something.
I had a girl do that in prep, and she wanted to do macros, and that was my first lesson. This is 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this just doesn't work. She would not eat basically anything all day, and then her last meal of the day, she would go get like Chipotle and then eat like some Reese cups and some Halo Top, and then she would be like, my digestion's messed up, and I gained 4 pounds overnight. And I'm like, well, if you actually ate your meal plan, then you'd probably get some results.
Yeah,
but
you have these online celebrity trainers and stuff. They're like, you know, the carbs in this are the same as carbs in this, and carbs are the same, and No, they're not.
No.
And like what you said, nutrient timing. Like there's times we'll utilize different sources of carbs.
Yep.
I mean, there's times we'll utilize carbs that may even to somebody who's lesser understanding or knowledgeable of the subject would think we're bad sources of carbs.
Yep.
You know, where we might use even sugary stuff.
Yeah,
and
like
just
post-workout, I like to use a lot of different cereals or
absolutely
stuff of that sort. Like I've used sorbet in the past. I've used candy for some, like gummy candy.
Exactly.
And that's something that people are often surprised they can do.
And especially once you get in shape.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get in shape, man, we can do so much.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people can't hold out long enough to get in shape to do that.
I've had several women where it's like their post-workout meal and make it be like Sour Patch Kids and a protein shake. And they're like, oh, my God, I've lost 30 pounds. I'm still eating Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah,
I'm
but
like,
you're not sitting on the fucking couch
No.
eating them while you're watching TV.
No, you're going to the gym.
You just went through a hard workout. Your body needs, these things to recover. And
Yep.
yeah, it works.
It's a whole different feel.
What's your favorite cereal?
My favorite cereal.
Aside from all this health and bodybuilding bullshit, if you're just, what's your favorite cereal?
My typical go-to cereal would probably be like Cocoa Pebbles.
You like Cocoa Pebbles?
Yeah, but I get the it's the organic version they sell that has a llama on the packaging. I don't know, the llama sells me. It's just
You like
something.
llamas?
I like llamas, so I buy that one because they're a little bit more crispy and they have less ingredients in them.
I got you.
So it's a little bit more of a crisped rice and it stays better in the milk, so it doesn't get soggy.
Yeah, I like Lucky Charms.
That's a good one.
I like Lucky Charms. And I like to, there was this Amish store and they would sell just the marshmallows.
Oh, shit.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I would get those and
just eat pure marshmallow?
No. add them to like spice up my Lucky Charms a little bit, like enhance them a little bit.
Man, one of
some extra marshmallows.
My favorite cereals as a kid was probably Captain Crunch.
Man, that would just destroy the roof of your fucking mouth.
Oh, it would, but it was good.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good. Yeah.
There's a lot of good cereals. You know how much expensive cereal is now, though? It's insane.
Yeah,
That's something I've seen, like $6 a box. I'm like,
yeah. Have you seen the difference in like the cereal, like the same cereal that's sold here and sold in Canada? Have you seen the difference?
No.
Look at Fruit Loops that are sold here and look at Fruit Loops in Canada. Like they won't allow them to use the same dyes because they say they're not healthy. And the Fruit Loops almost look like they've been, like you see products that have artificial dyes or products that have been dyed like with vegetable coloring or fruit color. That's what they look like. They're very pale
colored.
Yeah, they're all almost like you can see that they're all oat based, but like it's like some are just barely red or barely blue or barely green, whereas ours are like fucking neon.
Oh, yeah.
Yet they won't allow those dyes. And it's like, huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to find out later how much those affect us.
I think it's the accumulative factor. Like people are like, oh my God, you having a Diet Coke? It's like, yeah, but don't have fucking 12 in a day.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I think it's the how it, some of that stuff can accumulate in your system over time.
Yeah, well, if you're like only drinking Diet Coke and you're not drinking any water at all, you're probably in for a bad time, But if you're drinking a Diet Coke once a day or, a couple times a week, I don't think it's that bad.
I mean, sometimes in prep it helps. Like, you're craving something sweet or whatever.
I'm a big fan of Diet Coke. Diet soda and prep, like once a day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I like it with a meal. Like it just makes me feel like
I always used to make it with like my fourth meal of the day. I'd sit there and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to have me a Diet Sunkist or something like that. And I'd switch up the soda. I'd have about a few different options. And that was like my only variable, So I think it was nice because I had one thing where I'm like, okay, this is a little bit different.
It helps, man. And it gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah. Easy way to break up the monotony of,
It is.
Eating the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Because I'm in prep, I am very big on like, I eat the same exact meal.
Once you find out what digests well and what works well, don't stray from it. I tell everybody, bodybuilding is the better you are at bodybuilding, you're just living like a dog.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I explain it. You eat the same thing every day. You do the same thing every day. And the better you get at that, the better you do. Whenever you start to veer off and say, well, I want to add a little of this or a little of that, and you get away from the things that you've found and you and your coach have found digest well and work well, like just stick with the playbook.
Yeah,
there's time for that in the off season where you can kind of
the issues I run into where a lot of people are trying to switch things up on the daily basis. Like, well, I didn't want potatoes this day, so I did rice, and I didn't want this day, and I'm like, well, I don't know how your body's responding. So, whenever you're switching stuff up, and I've also realized one thing I really hate is MyFitnessPal. I think it is one of the most inaccurate things I've ever seen for tracking meals. Because what I'll have people do is they'll go and try to do it on there. There'll be an incorrect entry. and they're eating double the amount of carbs that they're supposed to because the entry on there was made by somebody who has no idea what they're talking about.
That's just it. People can update it and people can add things. And unless you have a base understanding of what things are and look like and how to calculate that stuff, you might think, okay, well, this is fine, when it would be way away from what it actually like would be in the numbers on the app if it was correct.
But primarily the apps I trust, I use primarily Feed for Function when I'm making plans, or I use Calorie King. And I found that those are a lot more accurate than MyFitnessPal. I've had people send me stuff on MyFitnessPal and they're like, this is what I've been eating. I'm like, well, that's all wrong. Like, when do you know, like,
and you know, and for you and I, we can look at it and know that, but you know, that's the issue with others being able to update some of that stuff.
It's a mess.
You can enter your stuff and say it's great, and then you might not know when the fuck you entered, you know?
Yeah. I've seen entries on there where it tells people egg whites have carbs and fat. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, So what's your opinion on caffeine, energy drinks, coffee, as far as?
I think, you know, and I can explain this deeper if you'd like. Caffeine plus nicotine equals protein.
Explain further.
Yeah. I said I could.
Oh, okay.
Didn't say I would.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
See, some stuff you got to find out on your own.
Yeah.
You know?
Try them both
like
together.
Time
see what happens.
you know, like time under the bar, you know?
Yeah.
I can tell you what it feels like to put 500 pounds on your chest on bench press. But go load it up.
Yeah.
Go see.
Go check it out. Go try it.
Yeah.
So I personally, this is how I do things. I start my day with about 20 ounces of water.
Yes.
And I do like a digestion drink. I throw in some glutamine. I've got apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, aloe vera juice. And I go ahead and drink that first to make sure I'm hydrated. Then I go ahead and start on my coffee. I found that that's helped quite a bit because what happens with a lot of people is they ingest a lot of caffeine and they don't ingest enough water. And that's a quick way to get a little bit more dehydrated.
Certainly is.
Affects performance.
I like to have, I mean, first and foremost, whether you do, which I love doing a digestive aid, like you talked about first thing in the morning, but like, even if you just do it, just plain water.
Yeah.
Like anything, just water.
Just water.
Man, just getting some water in your system first thing. It really primes your system. You kind of, because when you first wake up, you know, you've slept for X amount of hours, so you need water. So, especially too, I have people that want to work out first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And they don't consider trying to get some water in beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
And then their workouts suffer. You know, they can't work out with the same intensity. They don't have any kind of pump, whatever. And they say, well, you know, like when I was working out in the evenings, I felt better. But since my schedule changed, I just don't feel as strong in the mornings. You know, and food's going to digest, you know, and you're going to be okay there. You can have a quick carb source and be okay. But man, getting hydrated, you know, getting some salt, some water in your system. I like to have at least a liter of water in me before I go work out.
Yeah, that's fair. I always say I drink about, like you said, 40 ounces before I go train. I drink 40 ounces during training.
Sure.
And then I drink about 40 ounces after I train. I get more in throughout the day.
Yeah.
That hydrating yourself is key. I think a lot of people forget the simple stuff like water and how much it does affect your performance. It affects your digestion, everything.
Yeah.
And I've also found if I have somebody that consumes too much caffeine, it causes a lot of issues with digestion. I've had people have issues with sleep. I've had people completely stall out on weight loss because of stuff like caffeine.
The stress on your adrenal system.
Yeah, you know, your CNS is always active.
So I started to say your nervous system never gets a chance to rest.
Exactly. So,
and then couple that with somebody that might be in prep and using other stimulants.
Yep. I had a woman one time and she wasn't dropping weight. And I started investigating it. I opened up a dialogue like I usually do. And I'm like, all right, how much caffeine are you drinking a day was one of the questions. She was doing like coffee in the morning and then a Bang energy drink at like 12 and then another Bang energy drink at like 4. And then she was taking pre-workout before she trained. And I calculated it up and I was like close to like 900 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, okay, we can't do that. Like, I need you to drop this down to like 300 or less. So she did. started dropping like 3 pounds a week.
And the caffeine actually does what it's supposed to at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You can get like, intolerant to it.
Yeah.
You can build
Well, there's a lot of research that say that caffeine doesn't exactly give you energy. It just shows your body that you're not tired. Like it is.
No.
So it's not actually like going to give you what you think it's going to give you at those doses.
Yeah.
Plus, one thing I realized with caffeine, and it's a vasoconstrictor.
It is.
So when you're sitting there trying to go train and you take these pre-workouts that have 400, 500 milligrams of caffeine, and then you try to go train, it's actually kind of hindering.
Yes, and I've had that conversation with so many people, and like the younger crowd wants whatever pre-workout has like the most, like stimulants in it. And I've had that exact conversation with so many people. So, whenever we're talking about like pre-workouts and like pump compounds and everybody wants these things, essentially they work that way because they have vasodilators in them. Vasodilators, when we say vaso, you can think veins. Dilation means, opening. So vasodilators will open your veins and help you get more blood flow. Vasoconstrictors are the exact opposite of that, like caffeine being a vasoconstrictor, closing blood vessels. So whenever you take an abundance of both of them, it's like, one thing's telling your body to do this and the other thing's telling your body not to. So it's contrary, so you take a pre-workout supplement that has all of these vasodilators and then it's got 400 milligrams of caffeine. Like, why?
Yeah. It's not going to give you what you want. I found before training, I take about 150 milligrams of caffeine if I take any at all.
Mm-hmm. I like to do 200 or less. 200 or less.
I think that's a fair statement. Like I do the Clinical Labs Pump Enhancer, and I've been drinking one of those Sebum energy drinks, the small cans.
Not had those.
They're pretty good. They're smaller. I don't like those big ass energy drinks they make now.
I feel like shit if I drink like a big 20 ounce one and try to lift on it.
It's way too much. And
that much carbonation.
I like to get a lot more water in. Mm-hmm. So I'll drink one of those if I have one. And it's like, I think it's 125, 135 milligrams of caffeine. Mm-hmm. And I'll take 4 caps of the Pump Enhancer. And that's like perfect. I get a great workout just off that. And if I overdo caffeine though, I notice that I've got a lot more headaches. I'm a little bit more anxious on sets, things like that.
Well, that's something I started to mention too, is like some people, they think that they just struggle with like being anxious or something. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, god dang, dude, you're having like 1.5 grams of caffeine a day.
Oh, hell yeah.
You not think you're going to be anxious?
You're going to be all messed up in the head doing that.
But yeah, that's the Pump Enhancer. I use it. I'll have it in a serving of galvanized a lot of times.
Yeah.
Or if I'm out, I normally keep my Pump Enhancer in my bag.
Yeah.
So even if I grab like a small energy drink or something, I'll have that. Another thing I always add is I'll do an eighth of a teaspoon of sodium, salt.
Yeah, I do that. I sometimes do a 1/4 teaspoon. I've taken my salt pretty high.
Yeah, depending.
Pre-training, or even put some in my intra workout, and that's helped a ton. Mm-hmm. Super important, salt. That's just like water. I've had people before, and they're like, "I don't get a pump at all at the gym," and I'm like, "Well, how much salt are you at?" And they're like, "I don't do any salt," and I'm like, "Well,
some people have this like preconceived notion that sodium is bad, and it's like, no, dude, no sodium is bad.
Yeah,
obviously, you can overdo anything, but you need sodium.
Yeah, if you're eating only fast food every meal, you're probably getting too much sodium. But you do need to add some to your food,
especially around the workout, like you were saying.
Exactly. Like my pre-workout meal is normally like a cup of rice, 6 ounces of chicken, about 150 grams of pineapple, and I will douse that in salt. Yeah, and that's what I eat, and I usually get a great training session with just that. Mm-hmm. And I've done that for years. I haven't really switched that up.
No, if it works, it works. Mm-hmm. I think too many people they don't stick with what works.
No,
and that's how you get better. You find out what works, especially digestion. We talk about that a lot, but it's so often overlooked. It's like you might like that food and it might taste good, but every time you eat it, you might get bloated and you don't feel good. It's like that's not going to help you with your workout. That's not going to help you in the long run. So, not to mention stress on your system.
No. I got a question for you.
I got an answer for you.
Oh, yeah. So, how do you think social media has affected the idea of bodybuilding and how people portray it? I'll get where I'm going here. I feel like a lot of people have wanted to make things easier or think they can get by with less because they see other people that are genetic anomalies like doing nothing.
Yeah. Everybody wants to look at these guys who are just that genetic anomalies, and they're saying, well, you know, Sam Selleck or whatever, he does this.
Yeah.
You're not him, bro.
No.
You're not him.
I saw one of the top Olympians kind of did like a weird flex, in my opinion. They posted a story and it was like, and he did no cardio the entire prep. And I'm like, and that, to me, what a lot of people are going to see is they're going to be like, well, such and such didn't do any cardio, so why do I have to do cardio?
Yeah.
And I've never had more people than this year who've told me stuff like, I want to prep for a show, but I don't want to do more than 45 minutes of cardio. Or I want to prep for a show, but I don't want to go under 1,500 calories. And they give like these things because they see somebody else who has done this much longer, has superior genetics, and they're like, well, this person like doesn't have to do that, so why should I? And I'm like, well, you're not that person.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you said. But I found more and more people are getting into this and they don't want to do the work, which I don't understand. Like, in my opinion, if you want to get into bodybuilding, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get as lean as you need. And for some people, that may entail doing, you know, 2 hours of cardio a day.
A lot of cardio, yeah. It's by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Whenever you sign up to do a show or an event or whatever the competition is, it's a competition. So it's like, are you going to put in the work necessary to be competitive? And that could be sometimes eating very, very little. That could be doing a whole lot of cardio. Well, whenever, you know, Daniel was here, you know, he's an Olympia athlete and he was talking about the amounts of cardio he did. And, you know, that was a lot. He did a lot of cardio. And I mean, you look at somebody, and first and foremost, to ever get on the Olympia stage, you have to be top tier genetics, period. And so he's got that. He's got the work ethic, and he's doing a ton of cardio. So, I mean, and he was very transparent about that. But you have these guys who say that they're not doing any and so on. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine, but not everybody's going to do that.
Not everybody can do that. And I remember there was a certain group of individuals that were really pushing, like, you don't need to do cardio and prep. You can do a step goal, blah, blah, blah. But it's funny to me that those same people are now they're pushing some of their clients to do a ton of cardio because they realize not everybody is like that. You have some people who can get by with doing just a step goal, but majority of people have to get that heart rate up. You can't just sit there and burn fat with a 90 beats per minute leisurely walk as much as you can with a 120 to 130 beats per minute on a treadmill going at a faster pace. And it irritates me because so many people think that they want to make it this easy route now. They think they need crazy refeeds. They think that if they're not eating 1,000-gram carb refeed, they're not going to get progress. They think they're depleted. And I'm just like, no, you got to actually kind of dig a little bit if you want to get in shape.
So it's anytime you have something where any field gets saturated with input from everybody, then there's probably an equal amount of good and bad information that gets put out there. And you've got people who actually know what they're talking about, and they throw that out there, and then you got people that don't know what they're talking about.
A lot of people that are purely marketing. They want to make it seem like they've got this secret that everybody else is not doing, and they can do it better. It's like a holier than thou approach. Like, if your coach has you doing this much cardio, fire them. And I'm like, wait till you get somebody that needs that much cardio, buddy. Exactly. You're going to be in for a trip because you're going to be like, why can't I not get them in shape off these, pussy ass protocols that
they're what it is they're snake oil salesmen, and they're preying on the ignorance of the audience. Like these people that they're talking to, they don't know that that's not the case. They don't know that it's just really that simple. Just eat less and work more.
No, I get it, because like if I was a newbie just getting into bodybuilding and somebody told me like, hey, you can hire this coach right here and they won't make your cardio go over 30 minutes and you'll get to eat candy the entire time. Or you can go to this coach over here and they're going to make you do 2 hours of cardio a day. And, you got to eat 0 carbs at some points. You're going to probably go to that coach that makes it seem like it's easy.
If you don't know any better.
But then you're going to get burned real quick because you're not going to be in shape. And I see a lot of people quitting bodybuilding before they even get started.
Oh, yeah.
Because they get these false promises of what what's expected or how it can be done.
A lot of people are interested, very few are committed.
Yep.
When I'm doing my cardio and I'm cutting, I watch food shows while I do cardio.
I've done that.
I do it all the time.
Guys' grocery games. That's a good one.
I don't watch that. I watch like the ones where they like
The British Bake Off. You watch that?
No, I watch that now some. But
that's a
like
good
I
one.
watch the ones like where they're eating like these just like massive pizzas or just all like junk food stuff.
The eating challenges and all that.
No, just like
Have-
like diners, drive-ins, and dives.
See,
and just
that's
like,
a good one. That's
a good
one of the ones.
Like, but I'll watch that or any of those, man. And I've had people ask me, they're like, "How can you watch that and have that just put in your face and not be able to eat that, not be able to have that?" And I explain it to them like this, man. I'm like, well, it's kind of like when I was 12 years old and I would sit on the floor and watch Baywatch. I mean, I knew I couldn't have that either, but I knew one day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I knew one day. I was going, yeah, I was going to have that pizza.
What's the one they have? It's like a Trish's Southern Kitchen or something like that. I remember.
Oh yeah.
God, Seth Markham. He's a good bodybuilder from Kentucky. But he used to tell me every morning he would start his cardio watching Trish's Southern Kitchen.
Hell yeah.
And she just literally adds butter, like mountains of butter to everything, and like fries it, and that's all she does. But it's like these dishes where you would have probably like 200 grams of fat in the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But she's like, all right, now we're going to add some butter. And she just pours it over. And then she's like, all right, now some cheese.
Are you talking about, what was it? Paula Dean?
Paula Dean.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
She has a restaurant in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge.
Yeah, she does, yeah.
And it's like, imagine, it's exactly that. It's dishes that are like very buttery.
Yeah, dishes that probably taste good in the moment and then a half hour later you feel terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Southern cooking.
Yeah. Get you some Long Johns.
Oh, man. You know, I've had 3 people since we did that.
I bet you did.
And they went to Long John's. And they told me how disappointed they were. And it makes me sad, you know.
Did it saddened you, didn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, that was like something I considered a delicacy when I was 12.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
like bull tongue.
What?
Like yeah, Long John Silver's.
Like bull tongue.
Yeah. You ever had bull tongue, cow cheek?
You ever had bull's milk?
Nah. One time I went to this Mexican restaurant. It was downtown, and they served like cow tongue and cow cheek on their tacos. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna be different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it. When I tell you I ate this shit and it made me almost feel like I was tripping, it was strange. Like I started thinking about like I ate this cow tongue and I'm like, oh man, that's weird. I'm sitting there like chewing it. I start feeling different. Start feeling weird, like I'm having like an experience. Like it felt like something I shouldn't have been eating, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You eat beef tongue, you hallucinate with it?
I mean, you could see it, you know?
You know? Well,
Yeah. It was different.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
There was a place up here, Sagano's. You remember that?
I don't think so.
Sagano's,
Oh,
whatever.
what's that?
Well, it was a sushi place. And like this little old man ran it.
Yeah.
Like it was just him back. He was like the only guy cooking. And you go in, it was really good. But they had like this beef tongue appetizer.
Interesting.
And it was really good. I didn't hallucinate.
And you didn't.
Wish I did.
You didn't get the good stuff.
I've only like hallucinated once.
Yeah.
I don't know what was in this, but we were kids and we we bought some weed and it had something in it apparently that I'm not going to get too far in depth. But anyway, we ingested said product. And I remember I had this little S10 and I'm driving. I was maybe 17. And like I wasn't thinking anything about it. And then I looked and it was like, I seen a fault line across the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we can't cross that. Not in this. No. My buddy's crying, so I don't know what he's seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I backed up and turned around. Yeah. It was an awkward evening.
Speaking of stuff like that, do you remember when you ever tried salvia? Do you remember that?
I remember salvia.
You could buy that from just like random head shops. And I thought that was crazy. So like I think I was like 14 or 15. My buddies are like, let's try this stuff called salvia. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you can buy it from a store, so it must not be that bad. This just must be something fun, like, okay, cool. When I tell you, like, you were supposed to, like, smoke it and you inhale it and you hold it there for 10 seconds. But I'm telling you, like, it made me feel like I could see myself from above my head.
An out-of-body experience.
An out-of-body experience. And I felt like at one point I was not going to come back from it. Like, I was literally scared. So apparently, like, you couldn't control your body. So my buddy at the time had this, like, screen door, right? And it was like, we were at the house. And I walked through that screen door. Like, I just, like, kicked through it. Like, because I come there's a hole with my body print through the screen door.
Go fucking Looney Tunes.
I don't remember any of that shit. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm never doing that ever again. That's insane. Yeah. So, but they sold that at stores. Like, I was like, why is that a thing?
You remember Spice? They sold Spice.
Oh, yeah, bro. That was crazy. People would be like melting into their cars and like parked at red lights.
Did you ever
like,
smoke Spice?
No, I didn't do that because I had the bad experience that I've seen with friends, and they'd be like, "Hey, I didn't like it. Like, don't do it."
Well, what I'm talking about was the synthetic weed. That's what it was, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Some of those would make people like really screwed up.
That's what I've heard, man. I've heard like people come to the ER and be.
Oh yeah. That's like there was.
I didn't think it was that bad.
But they were like trying to sell this stuff at literally like head shops, and you could buy it at like a supplement store, like. Yeah, you go in there and get your Spice. They were selling stuff as like window cleaner, and people were snorting it. Like,
tremendous.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's a Tuesday. You ain't got much going on. What else you
gonna do?
That's the thing.
Sweet. It's been a good talk today.
So you saying you're gonna try that again this evening?
No, I won't ever try that again. That was different, man. Like we had a buddy that did it too, and he went out in the middle of the street and started rolling around like he was on fire. And I was like, "Yeah, we can't do this." Like, we're sitting there taking him by the arms and hands. Like,
did you pray to Tom Cruise to use his witchcraft to get the fire off of it?
I wonder what Tom Cruise is doing right now. You ever went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Los Angeles?
I've not.
It's all Scientology buildings.
I bet
like
it
that
is.
whole place is just like a church of Scientology every corner of every street. And you walk in there, they don't like it when you walk in there. They don't want you to investigate it. They get angry.
Yeah.
Like, I had a buddy, he walked into one, he said he was just trying to like look into it, and they're like, you can watch this video.
Let's measure your thetans.
Yeah.
You ever seen that stuff?
Yeah.
They gotta like do a thetan measure on you where they see like how many evil aliens are inside of your body.
Is that what they do?
Maybe that's why that girl ate her mother. Maybe
she got into Scientology. Holy shit.
She needed Scientology.
Oh, okay.
Like, they needed to rid her body of all those thetans. Maybe that's what it was.
We're going to have a Scientologist listen to this and they're going to be like, you guys are fucking wrong. You don't know anything about Scientology.
Yeah, we just got fucking sued and canceled.
Yeah. Furries going to come after us. We're screwed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
It's been fun.
It's been fun.
It's been great. It's been great. It's a good ride. It's a good ride. Good talk.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
This has been Bedson and Coffee Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening.
Make sure to go follow us on social media.